See, this is where I go do like this. What do you think the price of this set would be? Why is that thing on there? Wow. That thing has seen better days. This is a house, and this woman lives in this house, and this is what she does. Well, another day, another adventure. And today's adventure is an impulse purchase off of the internet from an estate sale. In this case, it's actually a full pot-bellied stove. It's a Birmingham stove and range little pot-bellied stove, and I've been looking for one that I could actually use as a stove, so I could actually, have that experience of putting a cast iron pan on a stove. And this is the perfect size. It's a little teeny tiny one, and it says doesn't work and is for decorative purposes only. And I'm trying to figure out what that really means. Is there some pieces missing for this thing? So anyway, this is in the city, and wood-burning stoves they're not hot items out here. So I got this thing for $81, right? I got it for $81. So I'm going to go pick it up this afternoon and see what it looks like. Hopefully I didn't get completely taken advantage of, but I am going to actually take this thing. My intention is to take this up to my property in the woods and put it in the little guest house as an actual wood-burning stove eventually. It'll probably start out as a decoration, but I've got some things posted on some of the groups to see if anybody can recognize from the pictures if there's something broken or missing, because it does say for decoration purposes only, it does not work. When I get up there, I'll ask some questions too, but it's a chance I'm taking for $81 to pick this thing up. So come with me on this ride. This is going to be an interesting ride, so stand by. All right, so here we go. I am on my way to head to a place called Mandeville. This is what's known as the North Shore in Louisiana, north of New Orleans. To go take a look at this this stove that I've picked up, and we're gonna see what condition it's in. Another one of my goofy online impulse purchases. Maybe it'll turn out to be pretty cool. I don't know, but it should be a nice day for a drive. So this is actually a pretty nice drive too. Oh, what is going on here? Ugh. Look at that. See, this is where I go do like this. Don't do that. Okay, so I'm driving over here to take a look at this pot-bellied stove. We're going to see what it is, but it's a BSR. It's a Birmingham stove and range, so it's pretty cool. It's made by the same people that make a lot of the cast iron cookware, so it should be a neat thing to discover, and we'll see. Does it work? Is there something wrong or broken with it? I have no idea. So we'll find out if this was some money that ended up being wasted. But another thing is, we're about to travel across, I think, what might be one of the world's largest bridges over water, if not the largest bridge. I can't remember if this one has been surpassed, but we're going to go across what's called the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. It should be a nice little kind of zen experience, provided there's no crazies on the road or anything other than me. And so here it is. We're getting up to the edge of this. It's a pretty interesting geological feature, the Lake Pontchartrain that we're going to be passing. This is one of the lakes that was probably created from runoff from the Mississippi River millennia ago, and now we're going to go across it. So this is one of the world's longest bridges, and it just goes on and on and on. Look, you can see that water out there. This is Lake Pontchartrain is what's called a brackish lake. It's kind of part saltwater, part freshwater. And as a kid, I used to do a lot of fishing in the lake here. It's an interesting lake. It's not very deep. The average depth of this entire lake is something like 15 feet, 15 to 20 feet. There's a dredged out shipping channel in the middle that can go down to about 80 feet or so. But for the most part, it's a very shallow lake that's got brackish water. So you can get both freshwater and saltwater species of fish in here. And up until relatively recently, the fishing used to be really quite good, but there's been some changes around here. Now you'll notice there's no boats out there. I don't know if you can see, but there's really like no activity out on the lake. It's just this beautiful, nice lake, and even though it is a little bit of a brisk day, there's no reason why there shouldn't be some boats out there. But this, in my opinion, is one of the liabilities that, or one of the side effects of Hurricane Katrina. When Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, it just completely destroyed everything. It obviously destroyed a lot of people's boats and all that. And it just seems like ever since Katrina hit, the locals really don't enjoy going out on the water as much. You know, it's like the whole water sports industry just dried up. A lot less people out there on sailboats and jet skis and stuff like that. But it used to be a major recreational place, and now it just kind of isn't. Another thing was there used to be a channel from the Mississippi River directly into the Gulf called the Mr. Go, MRGO. It was the Mississippi River Gulf Outlet, and it was used by a lot of the oil and gas companies to be able to move barges and things back and forth from the Gulf to the Mississippi River. But one of the problems with that is whenever a storm would hit, the winds from the storm would create a storm surge, which would have a big rush of water. And that rush of water would come up the Mississippi River Gulf Outlet and would flood this lake. Now this lake, the whole New Orleans area is basically under sea level on average, right? So when it rains, we have to pump all of that water out of the streets, and it's got to go somewhere. And in many places, this is where it goes. It goes into the lake. So with the storm surge creating a rising lake level, it makes it much more difficult to be able to pump water into the lake. And of course, it also introduces flooding from the lake itself. And it just exacerbated a lot of the traditional flooding problems. So that has now been closed post-Katrina. But one of the problems that it also caused was it changed the makeup of the lake. The lake used to be a little bit more fresh water in it than salt water, and I don't know what the percentage of salinity is, but I think it did have a negative effect on the fisheries here. There's all kinds of fish that you can catch in the lake, although I don't see fishing is popular anymore, and I think it might have been because of the Gulf Outlet. The Mississippi River would carry all these nutrients from upstream in the freshwater that would come into this lake, and it would feed a whole ecosystem of small fish, especially shrimp and things like that. And then the big fish would eat on the shrimp. And so with that cut off, there's really not as much of a food source for the bigger fish. And so there just doesn't seem to be as good a fishing in the lake anymore because of that, which is a shame, because when I was a kid, we would go out here and we would fish for flounder, trout, catfish, redfish, all different kinds of things. You could catch anything. You could catch eels in here. You could catch freshwater stuff. It was pretty cool. I haven't fished here in a long time, so I really don't know what it's like, but I can see there's a lot less people fishing. So the fishing can't be as good. You used to be able to catch crabs and shrimp and stuff here. And I'm sure there's still crabs in the lake, because occasionally I do see crab trap floaters here and there. But this used to be a big source of crabs, and it's not. And what's interesting about this lake is it's a shallow lake, but it's been around for probably millions of years. And the whole bottom of this lake was populated by these small clams. And at some point, they died off, and the whole bottom of the lake was filled with these petrified clam shells. And when they first started building New Orleans, they would dredge the lake for these shells, and they would use them for roads. And if you dig just about anywhere in the city proper down a couple of feet, you'll run into a layer of these shells, these small little clam shells, that they use for roads and gravel and leveling stuff. That was stopped, I think, in the 80s, because the dredging was basically destroying the ecosystem in the lake, and we got a governor that came in, or a mayor, I can't remember who, but that put a stop to it, and that cleaned up the lake. The lake definitely got a lot cleaner, and then the fishing came back. And then, of course, after Katrina, it just got damaged again. So that's kind of what's going on with this bridge crossing this big old lake that doesn't really seem to get as much use as it used to. All right, so I picked this thing up, and it's in the vehicle. And there are some things wrong with it that was not obvious. Look, there's like a crack in the side of the thing. Conveniently enough, they didn't have a picture of this side of the stove, so that kind of sucks. I feel that was kind of misleading, you know? But that could be fixed. This is just basic brazing. This is the top. There's a little thing that sticks over here so it lifts up and slides over, and that's been broken off. But nothing that can't be repaired. It's in good condition otherwise. There's definitely some things that are going to need to be repaired. So anyway, I'm over here, and I'm in the town of Mandeville, and there's a few antique stores and a little thrift shop over this way. So I'm gonna go take a look and see what I might be able to find. See if there's anything interesting. Since I'm over here, and it'll cost me $6 to get back across that bridge. There's a toll on the other way coming back home. So let's take a look at this thrift stop and see what's going on. Oh, I guess we're not doing anything. It's closed over Christmas. All right, well, there's another antique shop over this way. So I guess I'll go check that out. Pretty quaint little town. This is the historic downtown section. So we'll see what there is to see in this place. Definitely looks interesting. Oh, there's the friendly dogs. Hey guys. Smell? Smell? Hello. Hello. How are you? Okay, let's take a look. Oh, that's cool. Oops, somebody's been cooking. I smell cauliflower. Literally a house.
That's pretty nice. And then, I know.
That's awesome. There was like greens and chicken being cooked. It smelled like cauliflower, but now that I saw the greens, I could smell the greens, like mustard greens. Well, there's little cast iron pieces here. I don't see any skillets though. See, everything's built up on stilts because it floods. Probably something like a generator might have been there. Bakelite or plastic? Hard to tell. I guess if the city's missing any of their signs, this might be where they end up. Nice little stained glass pieces. So cast iron trivets. $8. I don't know a whole lot about these types of things. It says IZH 1951. I've heard of this maker. It's pretty cool. That almost might be worth getting. Here's a nice old heater. What is this, please? You know what I'm gonna say I think this is? Maybe a butter churn, part of a butter churn. Like there would be something on top of it, right? And it would, or a weight, you know, like to push down on butter or cream. I think that might be something like that. Neat old piece. Look at the nice little flowers. What do you think the price of this set would be? It's really pretty. $1.99. This is such a nice place. I almost feel like I should get something. And these trivets really are some of the nicest ones I've seen. This one has a date on it for $10. Is there something broken on it? Why is that thing on there? Is it holding it up together? I can't tell. That's pretty. I think it's worth $10. And it sits nice and flat. And this one's really pretty too. For $6. Look at that. This is really nice. Look at this cast iron eagle thing. For $5. It is neat. Oh, there's two of them. They're a little bit different. Oh, this one, the tail broke off of that one. Okay. So here's one that, oh, the other end's broken off of that too. So both of them are broken. That's a shame. That's pretty neat. Ah, there's some cast iron. Why, I walked right by it. Okay. Look at this little teeny tiny thing. Wow. That thing has seen better days. Looks like it had legs that were cut off at some point. This looks like a basic Dutch oven. Wagner ware, Sydney. They're in bad shape. They could be cleaned up. How much? Hard to tell if there's any pitting in that. And this thing, was this on there? Old chairs. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a gate mark on this. See those ears? Wow, this thing is old. Look at that. I sure would like to clean it up and see what it looks like. I'm gonna have to ask what they want for them. All right, well, this place was just totally lovely, and I got a chance to talk with the owner. And I'm a little bit too self-conscious about filming anybody or asking if they can be filmed, but this is a house, and this woman lives in this house, and this is what she does. She collects antiques and she sells them, and she lives in that house, and her house is basically a store. It's really cute. She said she bought the place 15 years ago, and it's really a beautiful space. I guess she probably lives up in the back up there. And it's really nice. Those two pans that she had, one was a Wagner, it looked like a number 8 Dutch oven. She wanted $25 for it, and the other one she wanted $25 too. It was interesting, but if I restored them, I don't know if I could get more than $25 for either one of them. So I had to pass on it. I offered 10, and she's like, nope. And I understand that, And we talked for a while about the market, and what people are going for, how's her business doing. And it was really interesting. It was a really good conversation. And It's a lovely place over there. If you're in Mandeville, stop at May's Antiques. It's pretty nice. I did pick up those 2 trivets, $18 for the 2 trivets. Again, that's a fair price. I don't think I could resell them and make any money on them because that's pretty much the market value, I think, of those things. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and enjoying the video series and supporting me thus far by subscribing and clicking like and all of that. And if you want to catch me on TikTok, sometimes I have previews of what I'm working on that I haven't published lately. That's at TikTok/@WisdomStudio. And if you're on Facebook, look up the group Vintage Cast Iron Hunting, Restoration, Identification, and Sales. And until next time.